Hello everybody, welcome back to the Cool Kitchen. I'm Hendrik and today we're making no-knead sourdough bread using white flour and rye flour. What you will need for this recipe: an active sourdough starter, 300 grams white bread flour, 200 grams coarse rye flour. You could use lighter rye flour if you want a lighter dough, a teaspoon of salt, a few tablespoons of sugar, and lukewarm water. All ingredient amounts are listed below the video. So let's get started. First you want to pour 2 ladlefuls of your starter into your bowl. That's around 200 ml of starter. Then just add your flour. We like using a mix of white and rye flour. It just makes for a very tasty but pretty light loaf of bread. Then add your salt and add your lukewarm water. I don't really measure my water anymore. I just add some at the beginning and then mix it in and see if I need any more or even less, and then I add more flour. But in case you're wondering, I use around 450 ml of lukewarm water here. And what you're looking for is a dough that isn't completely liquid but is too wet to work with your hands. So as the name of the recipe suggests, we're not kneading the dough here, we're just mixing the ingredients together, and that's all we have to do. And now just cover your bowl with a kitchen towel. Leave your dough to ferment overnight or at least for 8 hours, and this is what it looks like in the morning. It's at least doubled in size. The advantage of this long fermentation means that you don't have to do any kneading. The fermentation does all the work for you and creates a really lovely dough. Now you could use this dough the way it is and just put it into a bread tin and then leave it to rise for a second time and bake it. But I'm going to add some sugar and some flour to it and just fold in the flour to shape a few different loaves. So now start using your fork to mix in the flour. At this stage I'm folding in the rest of the flour and just trying to create a nice dough which is workable. Whenever you think your dough is ready, just put some flour on a work surface and put your dough on, and then you can shape it, you can divide it, you can do whatever you want to it. Today I'm making 2 baguettes and just 1 round loaf with this dough, and it's going to be quite rustic but very easy to do. So for the baguettes I'm just closing the seams on the dough, and I'm trying to roll it and then roll it out to make a baguette, and I'm going to put these on a special baguette tray to bake. To roll your baguette, start at the center and roll outwards. And don't forget, it doesn't have to be perfect. I like using these baguette trays for sourdough baguettes because it gives you that extra support that sourdough needs, especially sourdough with rye flour, any type of wholemeal flour really. But of course you could just use a normal baking tray, just shape your baguettes and put them on top and they should bake very nicely. Now the second type of loaf, very easy. I'm just going to shape in 2 rounds, so I'm tucking in the edges and turn it upside down and using the palms of my hands to make a tight ball shape. Now because I used coarse rye flour for my bread, it's not going to lift as nicely as if you would use light rye flour or just wheat flour, so it's going to droop a bit, but I quite like that look. And now place your second type of loaf on the baking tray. In case you're in a hurry whenever you make your sourdough bread, here's a good technique to know. We're going to let our dough rise for a second time, as you would with most breads and most sourdoughs. But because we want to hurry up the process, I'm putting some boiling water into a baking tray, and then I'm gonna put my bread over that to heat up nicely, so I only need about half an hour of rising time, which is quite fast for sourdough, before I put it in the oven. Preheat your oven to around 230-250 degrees Celsius. You can see after 30 minutes the dough has really expanded and it's ready to go into the oven. Now you could score this bread on top and make it look very nice and use flour and all that stuff, but I'm just going to keep it very simple and rustic and just put it into the oven. You don't have to do anything to this, you just have to bake it. So this bread has been baking at 230 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes, and then I put it down to 200 for another 10 minutes, and that should definitely give you a good bake. Now just take your bread out of the oven and put it on a cooling rack to cool down for at least half an hour. And now listen to this. This baguette has a really nice crust, as you can hear, and the inside is nice and airy, beautiful texture. It looks and smells great. As you can see here, the texture is nice and light, it's chewy, it's just what you want for a bread. And it tastes really nice too. The second type of bread, also a very nice crust, very nice inside, nice and light, and great taste. I'm just spreading some butter on this piece of bread, and I'm going to put some honey on it, which is honey from our own bees from our own back garden. It is fantastic, ivy creamed honey, delicious. This bread is super easy to make, it doesn't take a lot of preparation time, and it tastes fantastic. So hopefully you'll try this recipe. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. And also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter if you want to receive more updates on sourdough bread and sourdough courses. See you next time, bye! So that's what we're doing for a few days now until it's quite vigorous all the time and it smells of that particular smell that you only really know whenever you've got it right. And then from then on we can use it to make bread. So it's day 4 of